Hi, I'm Mark Rogers, a Christian gun owner, here today to talk to you about firearms training. Nobody talks much about that, do they? No, actually, you can go on just YouTube alone and find thousands of training videos by some of the best trainers, firearms trainers in the world. A question that really is not considered first by most people when they start thinking about training. Most of the time, people begin to feel bad. If they watch enough videos, they begin to feel bad because some trainers and some advanced shooters seem to think that people should be shamed into getting training whether they need it or not. Here's the question, though, that everybody should ask themselves, and you really have to put aside all the noise out there and ask yourself this one question. Not what kind of training do I need, or what kind of training do I want, or is this training over here worth it? The question you have to ask yourself is, what can I sustain? If you cannot sustain the training that you get, it doesn't matter what it is, doesn't matter how much you paid for it, and it doesn't matter who gave it to you. You won't be getting your money's worth, because learning to do something in a 3 or 4 day class that's some kind of high-end training where you're maybe clearing buildings and got simulated fire and people trying to kill you in the building, and you're fighting and got force-on-force training and fighting out of a car, all that's great if you can sustain it. But if you can't come home after you've done that and you've spent $1,500 or $2,000 in 4 days and driven across several states to get it, it's no good to you, because if you can't do it day in, day out, week in, week out, month in, month out, and sustain it, develop what you learned, it's useless to you. You just finding out how to do it will not result in you doing it naturally or quickly or responsively if a crisis should arise where you have to defend your life. Some of the best trainers in the world are just on YouTube. John Lovell, one of the best of the best. Long history of special forces, a trainer, one of the most popular in the country. He stays booked up for months. He teaches everything from basic pistol skills to how to clear a multi-level building with people firing at you trying to kill you. You take that type of training, the high end of that, and go learn it, and come back home and never repeat it and practice it, and what you learned is of very little value to you, and certainly is not worth the money to you, because you can't sustain it. It doesn't mean the training's not worth it. The training is worth every cent. The question is, what can you sustain? Pat McNamara, look at some of the stuff he does online. Look at his physical training that he does on his YouTube channel and in his classes. Look at the type of classes that he runs. People love his classes. People love his training. And the physical stuff that he does is inspiring and very, very valuable. Now, I do some physical training while I'm shooting. Am I going to do anything like Pat McNamara does? Not even close. But I take a whole lot and draw from him. I draw inspiration from him. I draw ideas from him. And I take what I can put in place and what I can sustain, and I use it to help me be better, and better my shooting skills, and better my ability to shoot under physical stress, because I draw from what I can take and put in place and sustain. The Carry Trainer YouTube channel. If you watch hours and hours and hours of training on YouTube, where you get to watch their classes in play. And a lot of those classes that you get to watch on YouTube are setups with a range with sticks and cardboard silhouettes and sticky notes and pieces of paper, and people moving back and forth, in and out, doing all kinds of movements and learning to use their pistols in a very, very responsive way, a very efficient way. And just watching that online, there's tons of stuff on there that you can set up, that most people would be able to set up and do over and over and over again and sustain what they learned just from watching the YouTube videos and setting it up and starting to practice it and learning from just watching the videos. Now, if you want to go through some of their advanced training, go for it. It'd be a great place to get your training. Just make sure that you ask yourself that question, what can I sustain? What can I come back from that training and repeat week after week, month after month, year after year? Otherwise, you've wasted your money. Now, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be putting out a series of videos called Sustainable Pistol Training. It's going to be, the videos will be pretty simple. They will be setups where most people, where the broadest range of people would be able to pull some of this stuff together, put it in place, practice with their handguns, not use tons of ammunition, but just learn how to do certain things and develop that to where they can sustain it and practice each week, each month, each year, on and on and on, and never have to give it up because it's sustainable. I'll be putting quite a few of these together. I can't tell you what the time frame is that they'll be coming out. I've got a couple of them. I got one of them ready right now. I'm about to do another one tomorrow, and I'll have those out pretty quickly. But they will be sustainable training, things that I've learned from other people, and that I take my resources, the place I have to shoot, the equipment that I have, the targets and the setups that I have, I set them up and I run through scenarios that I've learned and some of them that I've developed, just so I can get better at my shooting skills, to move quickly, to operate more efficiently, and to respond naturally in case a crisis situation should arise. I only have the capacity that I have to put in place and sustain what I can sustain, and so do you. So be realistic about your training. Be realistic about whatever training you're considering getting. The question is, what can I sustain? If you can get the high-end training from John Lovell and Pat McNamara, the carry trainer, go get it. It's great. Just make sure you can come back and sustain practicing that so that you don't. So first of all, you develop what you learned. It won't make you anything that you learned in 4 days. You have to develop it first, and then you have to be able to sustain it. Special forces, operators, they don't train once and then quit training. SWAT teams, they don't train once, qualify, and then quit training. They train daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, all the time, because those training skills have to be developed and they have to be sustained. What you can sustain is what will help you ramp up your shooting ability, and your ability to respond as naturally as possible should a crisis arise. And that's what sustainable pistol training is going to be all about. Training ideas, sustainable training ideas for the broadest range of people possible. That means men or women can do any of these. So come along and join me when you see these videos come up. See what I've set them up with, and think about how you can set them up and do them yourself, and how it would help you to develop and sustain yet another level of shooting skill to help you respond in a time of crisis when the unthinkable may happen and you may have to defend your life or the life of your family. Sustainable pistol training. Come along and join me. I'm Mark Rogers, and I will see you in those videos very soon.